Let's create a budget. Let's get out of debt. Let's build wealth. Guys, welcome back to the channel. So when I was going to do this little series on how to pay off or how to pay your bills, as I was making, the original plan was to make, the last video we did, we paid off a mortgage. I was going to do paying off a car, paying off student loans, paying off credit card debt. But the more, as I started making these videos, the more and more I came to realize it's not really about, individual debt, because debt is always going to be there. It's knowing how to use a debt tool to eliminate debt. So basically, there was no point in me making videos on separate debt situations. I mean, if you guys want to see a specific video on paying off a specific type of debt, just leave comments below and I'll make one of those. But it's more about knowing how to utilize this chart basically that I created, and understanding that a debt tool, you're basically taking a simple interest, dumping it on amortized interest, and you're saving on the interest itself, and then parking your income into a line of credit. Now, one thing is if you're using a credit card for the debt tool, then you got to understand it works the same way, kind of like a line of credit or personal line of credit. Those lines of credit are the easiest because you don't really have to worry about anything, because you can even stick your rent, mortgage, car payment, stuff like that in there. But if you're using a credit card to pay as your debt tool, basically what's happening is if you go in and you pay, you pay this electric bill, you pay this water bill, you pay your cable bill, internet, etc. You go down this list making these payments, that cash is coming out of your account. So if you look at the chart, it's what it's doing. If you're paying your bills that way, it's going to the expense column. And we know from the previous videos that this is a flow, right? The whole thing about money is you want to keep money flowing over and over without losing it. And if you running it through your bank, it still will be in part of this flow. That's fine. It could go in and out of your bank and back through. But once it comes to either to your budget or to a bill, you lose that. The money flows out of it. It goes out of the flow and kind of stops that flow. So what you want to do is, if you look at this, these bills here, they can be paid with credit card. So that's $1,313 that can now be put back into that flow and be used to pay off debt. So by paying this, where this $1,313 would have actually came out of your account, it'll now be redirected to be able to chunk onto your other debt. So guys, it's more about learning how to use a debt tool. It's about, if you're deep in debt, credit cards, if you're using the credit card as your debt tool, think of it this way. Think of your credit card as your checking account. So let's say you have 3 or 4 credit cards and you owe on all of them, they're pretty much close to max out. What you're going to do is, and this is assume, you have your checking account. If you have your checking account, that required amount, you got to think of the credit card. So start with one card. You can use the smallest one if you want. This part depends on how strategic you want to be as far as interest rates or whatever. But for a credit card, think of the credit card. In your mind, that credit card is going to be your checking account. So if you have this at the required amount, then you can dump your entire income into the credit card. Use the credit card to pay all of your bills. That is, the bills that can be paid with credit card: utilities, car insurance, rent, mortgage, things that can't be paid with credit card, you don't pay with it. But if it can be paid with a credit card, you dump your income in and then immediately turn around and pay the other bills. Now, if you followed the other videos, and if you haven't watched other videos, you'll have to watch those to understand. But if you have your checking account at the required amount, go ahead, dump all your income into there, and then turn around, pay your bills. And then when you get paid, before you dump your income into it, you'll enter what your checking account says here. And what it's going to do is it's going to replenish what you spent on everything that you couldn't pay with credit card. It's going to keep it in here, and it's going to tell you, it'll basically do the subtraction for you. And that's another reason why having the checking account required amount, it allows you to be able to, without worry, you don't have to actually do any math. It will do it for you. Now, if you don't have your checking account required amount, you got to be careful that you make sure that you go through your list, your bill list, and find out a total of everything. I mean, to be able to do this without having this buffer in here, you could possibly get in trouble. Meaning, if you don't pay attention, you could go negative. But if you have this, and as long as you entered your bills correctly, you will never have to worry about that. So I hope I'm not confusing you guys on this part of as far as the credit card, but credit card works just fine as far as velocity banking and using it. And then if you have a personal line of credit, if you don't have a personal line of credit, watch the other videos, because you should be setting yourself up to be able to get approved for that. So, velocity banking with the credit card, I wanted to kind of go more in depth and do an actual video on it, but you need to understand the flow and how it all works. Again, with personal lines of credit, it's easy. You just dump your entire income. Still, even with a personal line of credit, always make sure your checking account's at this required amount. If you're building your own sheet, or included in the description below is a link to my course, the complete course of financial freedom. This Excel sheet is included in there. If you guys leave comments, if I get enough comments on it and want to see how I build it, I'll do that also. But if you're building your own, basically this is just 1 month of expense plus a $50 buffer, and then another, depending on what percentage buffer you want. That's what this is. And by always keeping it at that, you never have to worry about, you can easily just use the credit card just like you would a line of credit as far as dumping all your income into it. And then what happens is, as you dump the income into there, you turn around, pay the bills that you need to with the credit card, and then your cash flow is going to stay in that card. And then you dump, the next time you dump again, eventually that card is going to be paid off. Once that card is paid off, you turn around and use the next card that you have bills on, and you dump all your income into it, and that becomes your new checking account until it's paid off. And when that card is paid off, you turn around and just dump it into the next card. So you basically go from card to card, and that's how you can easily get out of debt with credit cards. I don't, when I was about to make the video on credit card, I was like, it hit my mind like, credit is not even debt, really. It's basically just a tool. You just revolve everything, you send everything through there, and as you send it through there, it'll basically stay in your income. You're going to be cutting off interest. You're going to be, it's a rapid process on eliminating credit card debt, and again, don't forget that with credit cards, you can make sure to check to see if you have a balance transfer offer. Balance transfer offer can be used to get your checking account to that required amount, or it can be used to chunk at another debt. Understand that if you're using a balance transfer offer, then you're just going to be making the minimum payments. You won't be using that card as your checking account, because there's no point until that if say it's a 12-month balance transfer offer, after that 11th month, then you want to turn around and start, if you have the money, you want to pay the card off. If you don't have the money, you turn around and start using that as your checking account. So it's just a process. That's paying your bills is a process. If you just every day go in whenever your payday is and you just mindlessly pay your bills, that's, you got to understand some kind of strategic plan, and this chart will help you on doing that. So guys, if you have any questions, just leave comments below and I'll look at those and try to answer every one of them. And if you want to see specific examples on certain debts, that's fine. Also in the link below is a run my numbers link. If you click on that link, it'll take you to my website. It's still a work in progress, but it's still working for now. You can upload your Pacific bills and I'll make a video just on that. So guys, I hope you found value in this video. If you did, I appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't, and don't forget to hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.